This is Rich Sierra, president of the Florida Small Business Legal Center. This is episode 58 of Business SOS. Welcome to the show. I'm very excited you're here today with us. Today we have a special guest. It's one of my clients, one of my favorite clients, Jamie Diaz. She's the president of the Dynamite Dog Training Center. So we have a very special show for you, especially if you're a dog owner. This is for my friend Steve, that he told me that he listened to my podcast while he's walking his dog. So I'm very excited that you will enjoy the show as well. I'm very excited to have Jamie here with us. Jamie, you've been my client for about 6 years now.
Long time, yeah.
Welcome.
Maybe even longer.
Yes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm very excited that you're here. And I certainly want to talk about your business. You also want to talk about dog training. Many of our listeners are dog owners, and then they would certainly will benefit from all the knowledge you're going to impart with them. And I'm very excited for today's show. One of the questions that I have for you is, tell me the passion for dog training. How did that begin?
I've always had a passion for dogs. I've had dogs as a young kid with my mom. We always trained friends' dogs, and I got older, and I can remember the exact moment that I had my teaching degree. So I was teaching kids and I switched to dogs, but I remember the exact moment I was watching a show and there was a commercial for a dog training school. And I was like, I didn't even know that existed. So I literally applied for that college and went to dog training school, and that was it. I started my business right after that, but I've always had a passion for it. I just didn't know you can actually make that a career. And that's, here I am.
And just to give you a little more background about your business, tell me more about, Dynamite Dog Training Center, the services do you offer, and where you're located at?
So we are located at Deerfield Beach, Delray Beach, and Jupiter. We are soon going to be open in Fort Lauderdale as well. The services we offer is everything from group classes. We do private training. We do service dog training, therapy dog training, but my kind of baby is the center, is the school, is the day training. So you drop off your dog. It's a full day of curriculum and skills and videos that we take of your dog, and you pick them up, and it does translate at home, but that's probably the biggest service that people love, is the day training program.
That's pretty interesting. So what will be a typical day for a dog when they get dropped off by the day center?
So you get dropped off, you get walked, they have to be crate trained, and they literally have 4 to 6 sessions every time they're there. They get videoed. We have a whole kind of tier system, kind of like karate belts. So the dogs will get their green paw, their red paw, they'll take home with them after they have a certain skill set. And everything is videoed so that the clients can practice that at home. So the day entails training sessions, private training sessions, group training sessions off the leash with other dogs, and playtime, mental stimulation. It's a very jam-packed day. My dog actually goes every day, and he's trained by them for me because I'm too busy
That is
training
awesome.
other people's dogs.
That is pretty structured. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. I haven't heard of it either. I created the whole system myself. It started as just a camp for dogs. And I was like, we could do this all of the time. It started with 3 dogs, and now we have 40 to 60 dogs each day at every location. It's amazing. We have to be very structured, very organized. And my training staff is amazing. I have a pretty large staff now for that, but everyone goes with the flow, and the dogs get what they need daily.
That is awesome. One of the questions that I was going to ask you, you have a number of certifications, and I have to be honest with you, I looked them up.
Oh, good.
One of them is a certified dog training knowledge assisted.
Yes.
Tell me more about that.
So unfortunately, in the dog training world, it's not regulated. So you can tomorrow open up a dog training business and start taking clients. It's kind of scary. Somebody just got into trouble in Palm City for the same thing, dog training without knowing what they're doing. So super important when you're looking for a dog trainer that you look up those certifications. So the CPDT that you're talking about, I can have those letters after my name, CPDT/KA, which means knowledge assessed, which means we take a standardized test. They give it twice a year. And once you pass that, you have to keep up 36 continued education credits every 3 years. So you are constantly keeping up on your education. The dog training world is constantly changing. That's the number one certification that's national, that if people are looking for a dog trainer, they can look for that. But again, it's really scary. I think the first question you want to ask somebody if they don't have that certification is, what's the last seminar you took? What's the last workshop you took? I travel all over the country all year long, keeping up on my education. And you really want to do your research, because it can be really dangerous if you use a dog trainer that does not know what they're doing and uses aversives or things that can hurt your dog in the long run. So that certification, specifically the CPDT, is super important.
Well, thanks for bringing that up, and I think that will be helpful to our listeners. Also, you have the Victoria Stilwell Positive Dog Trainer.
Yes. Have you ever watched It's Me or the Dog? Victoria Stilwell?
No, I have not.
So she's still has them running, actually. I think in the UK she started filming again. It's an amazing show. So I'm a force-free trainer. So that means no shock collars, no choke chains, no prong collars. And this is all science-based. So the highest form of a dog trainer is a veterinary behaviorist, and they are in line with all of those things, not using any of those tools. Victoria has a program that she handpicks worldwide trainers that follow that philosophy, know their stuff, are certified. And you can go to her website if you're in Ohio, if you're in California, and she has handpicked all over the world trainers that she backs her name behind. And she also has one of the best dog training schools now too, which is Victoria Stilwell Academy. So if anybody's interested in dog training, I usually send them there. But that specific VSA, you can go to her site and find certified trainers in your area.
Okay, that's really good to know. And there's also no certification that is the CNWI, that's the Certified Nose Work Instruction.
Yes, that also I have to have continued education credits for that. So I do a lot of workshops and webinars. So Canine Nose Work, it was founded by detection dog trainers that said, any dog can do this. You know, they don't have to be looking for drugs or bombs or anything like that. Every dog can do it. So it's actually a sport for every dog that you search for odor, birch, anise, or clove. So you would have, if I have one of my nose work clients, I have a Q-tip in here with the smell of birch hidden in your office, they would be able to find it and alert me that it's there. So it's great mental stimulation for the dogs. A puppy can do it, an older dog. It's a great sport for everything. We have classes for that too, but I'm pretty proud of that certification because it's very specific canine nose work and not a lot of people have it. So, I love doing it. Every dog can do that. Blind dogs, deaf dogs. It's for every single dog. It's great.
Do your trainers they have in your school, are they certified?
Yes. So all of them don't have the CPDT yet, but they're all in line to take it. So you need 300 hours under a CPDT trainer. So I have to sign off that they can take the test. So once they hit that 300 hours with me and I feel that they're ready to take the test and they feel that they're ready, then I sign off and they take the test.
So it's not somebody that can go on the web and just basically pay for the test and take it?
No. Okay. You have to have the hours and you have to have a CPDT certified trainer back you up and sign their name for it.
That is very good to know. Thank you for sharing that. Let's talk a little bit more about your business. What was your first location that you opened?
Deerfield. So my first was Deerfield. I used to just do private sessions, and you come to a point that I can only fit so many private sessions in one day. So I needed a home base, and so Deerfield it was. That's been about 14 years almost now for Deerfield. So it's been a very, very long time. I actually just did night classes in the beginning and it was empty all day long. And then that's when I started the camp and now it's, it's full all day long. So it's amazing.
That is great. What challenges did you face when you started that first location?
So I would say policies and procedures that were not in place. You are my lawyer, but having an amazing business lawyer that knows the ins and outs of liability waivers, different things legally. I didn't have all the policies and procedures in place until something goes wrong. And then you say, oh, now I need this, now I need that. So I guess really if you were like starting a business, really think about those things, what could go wrong, because it will go wrong. So I think that was the biggest take from me is that I really need to have really good policies, procedures, liability waivers, all of these things in a row, and have somebody professional like yourself to actually go over it. So I have peace of mind that it's correct.
Yeah. Thank you. And the one of the things that I see businesses sometimes fail is that, or the mistakes is that the lack of standards.
Yes.
Whether and I make the distinction whether it's a legal decision or a business decision. Sometimes they kind of like cross over, but the standards are placed by the business owner. And when you have good standards, you avoid a lot of legal mistakes, legal issues later on. Mm-hmm. So I think that, and also I think that by you having those policies and procedures help you open the second and third location.
Yes. Yes, you have to. You have to have everything in line, everything in order to be able to grow. So if you don't have those, you're just going to fail. It's not going to be successful. So now I'm confident with the things that I have that, I can still show you certain things, but everything's in line. Everything's in order. The standards are in order. The waivers are in order. Everything that everybody needs to do, including the employees. So I think that's probably the biggest struggle for me in all the locations is now that I have all those policies and procedures, now it's just making sure the employees are in line with everything as well.
And it's almost a two-tier system because you have your policy procedures and the business management aspect of it, but also you have the employee management aspect of it, the HR aspect. Mm-hmm. How many employees do you have right now in total, the locations?
I probably have around 25 employees, yeah.
Do you have an HR manager?
I need one, Rich. I have managers in each location.
Yeah.
I think the more you grow, I probably will need, because you do come into things that we have an open door policy, but everyone doesn't always want to talk to the boss, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to say things. It happens all the time. I'll lose an employee and I'm like, why didn't you say something that if you weren't happy or something was wrong? It happens all the time. So I am going to have like a main person that's going to be in charge. Because if I have 5 centers, 6 centers, 7 centers, I'm not going to be able to do it all. So I'm going to need that person.
Yeah, it's going to be overwhelming at some point because you can only have so many people reach out to you directly.
Yes.
And the span of control of being able to supervise that many people, some people are going to fall through the cracks. Some emails are going to get lost. You're not going to be able to keep track of everybody.
Yes.
Without the proper chain of command and with the proper management structure. And that as you're growing now, the management structure is going to be the key to grow even further.
You're 100% right. Right now, in place at all centers, I have amazing managers. And then I also have a director that's in charge of the day training and the dog. So we do have different lines. I also realize one of the biggest thing is trying to answer a phone in a dog training center is not the best thing to do. So now all the phones are answered. I have 3 or 4 people that work remotely that do the phones, the reservations, new client calls. We were hiding in the closet. At the end of the day, we don't want, all of our dogs are trained, but they bark sometimes. Yeah. So never fails. You're trying to get a call and we're hiding in the bathroom trying to take a call. So I learned that pretty early on that certain positions, like you're saying, are better done at home. So they're very successful at home doing the sales, doing the marketing, doing all of that. But yeah, you really can't have a good phone communication at a dog training center.
Yes. Never thought about that. That's funny. One of the things, when you're looking for staff or people to work with you, what are the criteria you look for? What are the values that you look for?
I always look for the same values. And honestly, you can pretty much tell within a week if they're there, but it's consistency. So we cannot have people calling out when you're at a dog training center and have 40 dogs, right? We scale things according to our staff. So we only have a certain amount of dogs according to the staff we have. So if we don't have consistent employees, that's really hard to figure out until people start working, right? Because nobody's going to say, "Oh, I call out all the time at my last job." Yeah. So being consistent, being able to communicate. So we have to do a lot of communication. We're working with live animals and safety is an issue. So you have to be a very good communicator. You have to be open. So if I'm in an interview and they're just very quiet, and that may not be the job for them. I will tell you, and this is a great tip for everybody, dog trainer, a lot of people get into the dog training field because they love animals and they don't like dealing with people. Well, all of these dogs are owned by people, and they're the ones that pay the bills. So you have to be a people person. I guess that's the other thing. In a prior life, I used to bartend. So I was used to communicating, talking to customers and everything. So I think that really helped me in this field. You have to be able to communicate and be outgoing, because at the end of the day, the people are what brings the dogs, and they're the ones that you have to connect with, right? You could be the best dog trainer in the world. It doesn't matter if you have no people skills. So I think the one thing I look for, honestly, is somebody that wants to work hard, that's outgoing, and is a people person. Because at the end of the day, it's the people that you have to connect with.
Yeah, I think that is very important. A few months ago, I actually had another guest. I did it in Vegas.
Oh,
a friend of mine, he is the manager, he's Glenn Potter. He's the manager training manager for Westgate Casinos. He actually worked for a number of casinos in Vegas. So we talk about the importance of training your employees and how great training increases your profitability. So do you believe in that philosophy as well, that the training of your employees and how that affects your bottom line?
1,000,000%. So every quarter we close all the centers except for one. We're actually doing it in August again. And we have staff training, because it's really hard to train your staff in the midst of the chaos of a day, right? So you're trying to show them we have like a log, we have times we have to hit, we have sessions we have to hit. So these sessions that we train, all of the centers come to one, and we do a full day of training of the staff, because it's super important. And it's the feedback from it is everybody loves that. They love that downtime that they can actually listen, they can actually learn, and they're not in the like muscle and bustle of the day.
But I think that also bringing them together helps build that team spirit.
Yes. And they also hear about, oh, you have this problem at this center, so do we. How can we fix it? And they feel more as one team, and because it's all the same flow. We're all doing the same job at every center. So they are able to talk, and I have to leave extra time for that, because I love to hear from them. I want to hear their feedback. I want them to brainstorm. How can we make things better? I guess me as an owner, I always ask, even if somebody gives their 2 weeks, I say, let me ask you, what could I do better as an owner? Like, what made you want to leave? Sometimes it's just they're moving this or that, but what could I have done better? And sometimes it's the training. They want that training. They need the support. They need to know exactly what's going on. So when we have these training sessions, everybody loves it. Everybody walks away happy, excited, and ready to work their next workday.
Yeah. And I think proper training gives them confidence to do their work.
Yes.
Better. And also proper training, allows them to make few mistakes, but also learn from those.
Yes. I think why I want to expand, why I like doing this, is I love coaching people. I want my trainers to be better than me. I know I'm very skilled and very good at my craft. I want them to be even better. I want a client to come in and say, I want, this trainer instead of Jamie. That would be the biggest compliment for me. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of people in the field do not. They always want to be the best. That's not for me. I want my team to be better than me. That's my goal. And the only way you do that is through training.
You'll go faster that way, because you're going to have more qualified trainers to provide training for the owners.
Yes. I can open up 10 schools, but if the trainers are not good there, they're not going to be successful. So I think that's the big part for that. Yeah.
Earlier in your career, anything you want to share, any legal challenges that you faced in your career that you'd like to share with us?
I think the main lesson that I've learned is, I have had theft, money, and I think it's because I wasn't on top of things. I think you need to trust people, but when you own the business, you're the only one that's really going to be looking at your numbers with a fine tooth comb. You're the only one that's going to see what's happening with the money. It's okay to trust people with certain things, but I think I've learned at some point I have to oversee everything. I really have to look, especially when it comes to the financials. You really just want to be careful. I'm sure you've heard horror stories in every business.
Yes.
There's some kind of theft happening. I didn't think it was going to happen to me, and it did, and I'm smarter for it. I used to be a little too trusting. Nobody that works for me now, they all used to make their own sessions, collect their own money, give it to me. It was like the wild, wild west. Yeah. And now everything's run through the office, right? There's no appointments. Nothing is done unless it's gone through a central office, which I oversee. So I think that's the biggest thing. Just make sure you know what's happening in your business. Don't kind of just because my business is running, I cannot go there for a month and it'll still be running, but you can't do that. You just have to be on top of everything and make sure that you're watching your finances.
Yeah, I'm glad you shared that with us. It's very important. And some business owners are very busy, and business ownership is a challenge. It is a wild ride, a roller coaster ride. I mean, we both experience it, but you got to be able to have certain levels of control. And financial controls are also very important. Your physical plant, your sales, your collections. Now you're talking about your people. So you as a business owner, you're managing like 7 different pillars or structures that makes the entire business run. So that is difficult. That is challenging. Plus we have our own lives.
Yeah.
On top of that,
yes.
You got to do that in a 1 week period. So, I think especially with the financial part of it, as you mentioned, if you don't keep track of it and you trust somebody and, hopefully do the right thing, but things do happen. And then all of a sudden you're in a very difficult situation.
Yes.
And trying to resolve it through losses and all that at some point becomes futile.
Yeah. That's the unfortunate thing. I think business owners, I'd have to be, which I have, I'm sure but you spend thousands and thousands of dollars and you're right? You're right. You're right in the case. But to get to the point, it's sometimes it's just not worth it. So it's better to not have those issues from the beginning. And if you're kind of absent, you're not going to catch those issues. So again, going policies, procedures, having those things in place, and everything I learned from, I just was a little bit too trusting, a little bit too loose, and, I tightened things up and we don't have those issues anymore.
Yeah. Reporting, one quick question before I close. What type of reporting systems do you have, especially as an owner, that you like to share with us that helps you kind of have a big picture of your business?
Like the computer things that we use?
Reporting system that you use, what type of indicators that you keep track? It's like, okay, this is the way I kind of measure my key indicators of my business to make sure they're going in the right track.
So we have a system called Ginger that breaks down everything for you, the sales, projected sales, kind of everything. I'm on there daily. I know what my sales are, new sales, repeated, customers that are re-upping. I know exactly every single day what's happening at every single center. And then we have a projection of what we want to do. So it's a quick snapshot that I can look at daily, but that's something I used to not do. I used to just, another check. You can't be like that. You have to know what's happening with your numbers. You have to know that you're growing. You have to know that, you have enough money to pay everybody and that things are consistently growing in that way. So the system that we have is a quick, easy snapshot that I look at daily at every single center.
That is great. And I wish all business owners did that because it will make their life a lot easier that way. Would you have time to do another segment with us? I want to ask you more questions about tips that you provide dog owners for dog training.
Yes, I would love to. That's my favorite topic.
Okay. So before we close, how do people find you?
So people can find me, I'm all over social media. So they can find me, obviously my website is dynamitedogtraining.com. My training center in Jupiter is called Lucky Dog Training Club. I took over from a colleague, her business up there. So it was beautiful. So instead of changing it, some people get confused. So we're sister companies, but you can go to dynamitedogtraining.com or at Dynamite Dog Training on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. You can find me.
Well, Jamie, thank you very much for joining us today. We're going to do another, the next following week. Next episode is going to be on specific tips for dog training. So stick around and we're going to basically do the next episode shortly. Just for both of you, all of you, I did not open the show the same way I open it usually. But if you want to reach me you can send me an email, rich@richsierra.com. If you're interested in my website and my business or legal services, FloridaSmallBusinessLegalCenter.com. Remember that Business SOS, 8 Common Legal Mistakes Business Owners Make and How to Avoid Them. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can ask for your local bookstore. Until next week, this is Rich Sierra, and thank you, Jamie, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Rich.
And my goal is to help you succeed. Thank you.